and you must have a measure. Okay? And if it stops, you've stopped. It's that simple.
But what I found this past week in doing the predictions is that the connection with spirit is affected by our health as well. For example, when I was very worn out and extremely exhausted, and I did everything I could to connect, my prediction was off.
Right, right.
So it goes both ways.
Yes, it does. It does go both ways. But I've had days, like 2 days ago, it was late at night. I was working with the other gentleman I told you about. I've been working with for quite a while. It was past 10 o'clock. I was very tired, very tired. I wasn't thinking very properly. I was thinking, he wants me to pick 2 stocks and get them right. I just didn't think I could do it, but I went back into gratitude. I went back into gratitude. I let the gratitude go through my body. I'll explain that in just a moment. Let it go through. And I could feel the energy coming back. And I went back into thanking for the opportunities I have. I let the energy keep coming back. In about 15 minutes, I had enough energy to make the prediction. I got both of them correct. Now, before I did that, I also chose, before I went into gratitude, I also chose the answers. I would have got both of them wrong. You are exactly correct. It can work both ways, but you do have some control over this. Okay? So let's go a little further. All right, now, this is one of the reasons why I'm going to slow down. I want you to get this concept. This is priceless, this concept, right now. I call this balancing energy. And this is the energy that flows through our body. This is what we were talking about last week. This is the energy that flows from the top of the skull, through our bodies, into the earth, back up through heaven and back through us. It's this continual system that feeds us. It's the continual system that gives us energy. Yes.
Okay. Would you say how that goes exactly and or if it matters?
You tell me. You tell me.
Well,
Come on. It's still good. Everyone else has a question. Go
I've got to do
ahead.
it right.
I know you do. And that's why I'm doing this. So you tell me. How would you do it?
Okay.
How would
Well, just down
Right.
through heaven, through the earth.
Okay.
And then I got confused about whether it was coming up over and going to heaven or if it was coming back up through.
Okay.
And so you're saying it goes over.
Right. It goes over. It can go. That's right.
Okay, goes
It goes
down
over.
and then comes up and comes over back through heaven.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Now, as a brain person, are there any other brain people? Does it make sense? And this is important. Does it make sense? Yes.
Yeah, but I didn't get what you were saying, over and over. I mean, I'm following that, I get that,
Okay.
but
I think
didn't
that's a
get that
visualization.
Oh, the protection.
It also might help if you think of it as, and the reason you know that it went all the way around is because you're trying to remove all of the lack of acceptance or lack of forgiveness, whichever one you have, and you can see that as the dark shadow in your body, and that if you think of that, then you know you have to put it, the sludge goes into the earth and stays there and comes back around and to continue
Well,
to
that's
clean.
what was confusing me. It wasn't getting very clear.
Good. This is good.
You were recycling.
This is good. There.
What helps me get this little image in mind for me is the oriental system of chakras, is
Yeah.
that the crown chakras up here and energy comes in through there. From
Yeah,
the head.
well, I got that.
Okay.
It's where it went afterward.
That's clear. Ruthie.
See, I thought of it as when it's going through, then it goes into the earth, and I think of the earth as a natural filtration system. So therefore, it just basically mops it and goes through there. But then my question was, does it go just to the core of the earth, or does it go all the way through and then back around? And then I got the image of the torus. So then I had the, the torus, so it's going all around us, all around us, all around us each way.
Right.
And that's kind of how I ended up.
Well, it looks like his does go all the way through there.
Yeah.
It does.
Mine never does go all the way through.
All right, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Look what I did surrounding this person. Look what I did. I drew an area of protection surrounding that person. Look, when I was tired a few nights ago, immediately I know. That's like the calling card for the sharks. Okay, if I'm tired, I'm upset, I'm fearful, I'm angry, I know dark forces are going to be coming. I might as well just throw the fish out into the water. Okay, they're coming. So, what I do, and if I have someone that has a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and they're under a lot of tension, and I have to scan that person, immediately I protect myself.
Right.
Immediately, I protect myself. Now, that was the other thing I did to be right, because if I had selected those stocks without protecting myself, I would have been wrong again. It changed everything immediately when I protected myself. So here's what I did. Here's what I do. In my mind, I imagined that just no taller than me and just the width of my body, I start with a circle. Okay? And within that circle, it's clear. There is no problems, no dark forces, no demons, nothing can get into that circle. I allow it to expand. You can decide how far you want that to expand. I don't care how far that is. Okay? Within that circle, you can start scanning. And you can start that any time. I've done this now so often, the moment I put that circle around me, I am clear. I'm clear. Nothing can enter that circle. Okay? Whatever answers I get, it's just between myself, God, and whomever I'm dealing with at that point. Am I clear? Okay. So you decide how large you want to make this area of protection. Okay. But when I lock that together, when I lock my circle together, and I actually see in my mind that I lock two ends together, when that occurs, it's like everything else is shut out. Everything gets quiet, and I can do the work I need to do. That's what works for me.
So is it like surrounding yourself in a bubble?
Yes.
As
Yes.
opposed to a circle? Because I had trouble with the
sphere,
linear.
called a sphere.
That's
Oh,
okay.
never
Oh,
even a
it's
circle,
here.
I was
Yeah,
a circle on the.
I know.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was one of the other.
I'm sorry.
I knew better.
Okay.
Like a large basketball.
Well, like in ceremonies, they do a circle.
Yeah.
So, called a sphere.
This way, but then I started making it
Good point.
We're going to get to that. We're gonna get to that. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's a
I
great
put
one.
myself in a sphere.
Gary, what she just said, this is a good one.
Yes.
I just kind of envision myself as Glenda, the good witch, coming in her bubble.
Ah, yeah.
We can do that. So, what we do next is, now we've got to figure out how are we responding. Remember we talked about 3 parts of the body, brain, heart, spirit. Any one of those 3, if not all 3, can be black, dark. We can have problems. We want them to look, all 3 areas to look like this. Remember? Yeah. Do you have that sheet? Yes. Okay, remember? All 3 areas need to look like this. Okay? Now, every time I start scanning into the stock market, generally it's my brain that I have to be careful about. Generally it's my brain and will go black. Now if I start scanning into you, and I'm not feeling well, it's going to be my heart. Now for you, that might even change. I mean, what may work for one situation, a few days later, maybe it won't work again. Maybe it'll go to the opposite area. Maybe it'll go to the heart, or maybe the spirit. You cannot assume anything when you start doing this. You must start from scratch every time. For example, if someone came running in and asked me about a stock, I would look at my energetic self. Remember we talked about this. In this case, I see myself standing in a circle, not a sphere. Okay? I'm standing in a circle. Okay? I look at myself, and I would see that my brain is black. If I'm dealing with finances right now. Right now, it would be black. Heart is doing well, spirit is doing well. It's bright. Black in this area. Okay, then I ask, is it black due to lack of acceptance or lack of forgiveness? Lack of acceptance or lack of forgiveness. Only one is going to work. Only one is going to unlock this and turn that black area into a bright area. Well, what would it be? You tell me. What's holding me back? Lack of acceptance, lack of forgiveness.
Is it on your right side or left side?
Okay. You tell me. You tell me. What turns this on? Lack of acceptance, lack of forgiveness. For right now. Tell me. Thank you. How did you know? How did you know?
It's a brain thing.
Well,
Because acceptance, for me, just appears brighter and larger words, like on the 1 or the 2. I would just have one of them like which one of them, and then one of them just sort of comes
That's-
into my mind.
That's right, that's right. And I don't care how you do this, everyone may do this differently, but what I do is this. I look at where the darkness is, and I put in the idea of acceptance into that area, and if it's correct, it immediately lights up, and if it's not, it stays dark. That helps me. Kim?
Just a quick question to understand what you're doing.
Right.
I understand visualizing yourself in the circle. Are we supposed to visualize ourselves as that at the same time, and then the two are working together?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I would do first is I would see myself in that position, and then I would bring the sphere around me and around myself in that circle, and I would start the process of allowing the energy to come through, of acceptance, allowing it to come through, and I would just let it come through, staying in gratitude, and I would start letting that energy build and build and build and build until my spirit says, you're ready. Make the choice. Now I'm going to tell you when you start doing this is like painting something. This is like creating a masterpiece. When it tells you to do it, you do it. I can't tell you how often I've been driving down the road and I get the answer and immediately I stop, pull over to the side, and I get the answer and I do it. Because if I wait, even 10, 15 minutes later, I could be out of the situation. When it tells you to strike, you strike. When it tells you not to strike, you don't strike. It is that profound, and it tells you. Okay. Now, you can encourage it. You can start working with this on a regular basis. You can make it work a little faster. But when you're not ready, don't push it. You'll know when you're ready. Now, how will you know when you're ready? You practice correctly. You practice correctly. You practice correctly. You have to keep practicing. This is probably the single most important item to get you to go into these systems that we're going to be developing correctly. You do this, you can start developing your systems. I don't care what the systems are for. They can be for anything. Money, health, relationships, I don't care. If you get this right.
Okay, would you say,
I don't know. I'll let you say.
that, okay, you said acceptance lightens the brain.
For me, in my case.
Okay.
In my case.
Would you say then forgiveness lightens the heart?
For me, depends on the circumstance. If we're talking about money, don't need any help there. If I'm talking about, let's say I'm talking about my cats. I'm talking about my cats, okay? And I think they've got a problem. Immediately my heart would go black because I care about them, okay?
So that's the emotional.
The emotional part. Yeah, I could have a problem.
But you can have emotional things about money too.
You can. It just depends on, but that's not my issue.
Yeah, but I don't
That-
think
that may never
forgiveness
be
or
the position.
acceptance is tied to emotions or
Oh,
the
it's-
brain per se, right?
Right,
I mean,
right. It
It's
is.
the person.
We have to be
you have to test whether it's acceptance or
each and every circumstance.
forgiveness. Regardless, if your
Let's-
brain was black or your heart, you need to check.
Or both. Is
Right.
that what you're
Right,
saying?
right.
That's
Each and every time.
Okay,
No
so
matter what
it's
the
not one or
circumstance.
the other.
Correct.
Well,
Brain or
it's,
heart are not necessarily acceptance or forgiveness. Okay,
no, you've
That's
got to go
the-
case by case, situation by
Okay.
situation, time of day,
Okay.
and everything else.
okay.
You
And the
cannot
spirit as
take-
well, too.
Spirit as well.
You might have lack
Spirit
of
as well.
forgiveness there or lack
Right.
of acceptance there.
That's exactly right. It could be any one or all three of them. It just depends. Generally, it's at least one. Generally, it's one. That's really darker than the other. Yeah.
So, you're not going to be able to speak with your spirit well unless that's working.
You can't trust the answers that you'll get. Yes.
And how do we tell when that's working?
Okay. All right, we go to the next one.
I'm sorry, guys.
Okay. I don't know how to tell you this, but you've got to get to the idea of understanding and being able to see yourself energetically. You've got to get to that, so that you can see eventually three distinct elements. You have to begin learning how to do this. Now, some of you can do it right now. Others of you are having trouble. So let's keep this simple. If you're going to see and sense energy, what we're going to do is this. For those of you who are having trouble understanding this, or seeing it, sensing it, think of it one of two ways when you're looking at the person. Now we're not worried about 3 separate areas. We're just looking at the person in total. They'll either give you a sense of something like a dark cloud. It's dark. We may not know where they're dark, but something is dark. It just isn't right. Okay? That's all you have to sense, something like that. Or they're like the sun, and they come off as being very neutral or energetic, and you're sensing that. Okay? Am I being clear?
I have a stupid question.
No,
See
it's
how
good.
your people, you can't tell if they're facing you or not? See that? So, well,
And this
that's
thing-
my question is, because I saw one side or the other was darker, and I didn't know which side it was. Was it really my left or was it my right? Which way was I
Well,
faced?
being a brain person, being a code person, I have never dealt with that question. So
I understand it.
I may ask you to teach the brain people that part. Now, that's possible. I mean, anything's possible.
Well, I did see it on one side, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that means. Well, the emotional side, blah, 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 and I'm thinking, well, I don't know which side it is.
Well, we're going to get an opportunity to
Yeah, I
test
should
all
put a
this
face on it.
tonight. We're going to get a chance to test this, okay? Because we're going to bring up about 15 people, and we're going to work our way through. We have to deal with this. We've got to do this person by person. Okay, I've got to give you practice, and we'll do it each person. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want to make sure that you, for the personal goals, do you have your personal goals with you? Okay, good, good, excellent. For those of you who don't, okay, for those of you who don't, I'm going to ask you to take a few minutes and write down your personal goals. Can you pass that? Just write them down. Anyone else?
I
Anyone
can
else?
bring mine. I can
Smart?
yeah, I can bring
All
mine.
right, I'll tell you what, Sherry, you just pass those down. If anyone needs it,
You there in the front row?
there we go. Anyone needs it? Anyone else? Okay, we can just pass this down. Thank you. Okay. All right, yes.
So, what you're saying is, when we get ready to try to get an answer, we're going to put a sphere around ourselves, then we're going to, our intention is to see our energetic body in a circle, and we're gonna look for sun and clouds in that
That's a
energetic
starting
body.
point. And I'll show you rather than explain it. Cecile, can we start with you?
Okay.
Let's get a chair here. I'm just going to get a chair. I'm just going to bring this chair up over here so we can have you sit. Excuse me. Okay, young lady, would you mind coming in? Okay, think of your short-term goals. Just think of your short-term goals. And think of you achieving your short-term goals. Okay? Okay. Now, you and I, all of us here, need to go back to this concept. She's just thinking of her short-term goals. Those for 6 months or less. Okay, we're going into this position right now. Okay? We're protecting ourselves. Put the sphere around us. We're letting the energy go through us, and we're going to examine her from this sphere. Okay? All right, so just as a general idea, as we're examining her, and she's looking at her goals, what do we see? Is it dark or is it bright? Number one. It's dark. It's dark, okay? Now, for those of you who can do it, which of the 3 areas is the darkest? Is it her brain, heart, or spirit in relationship to her goals?
Brain.
Heart.
Well, what I'm doing, I'm in my sphere, and I'm setting my energies through her, testing, and I touch my body, and the moment I touch my body, it takes me right to the area. It's her heart. It's her heart. That's primary. Primary. Make sure you say primary. Make sure you say primary. Okay? So that's the darkest area.
Are we coaching this? How are we, what's the specific inquiry here on this?
We're looking at her goals, her short-term goals. And we're looking to see how she's responding to her short-term goals. I don't care what they are, I'm going through her brain and her body systems, and her spirit is telling me what her goals are. They're giving me information, so I can scan her. My spirit is going into her spirit and evaluating where she is. Just like if someone were on the other side of the world, and I got their name, and I want to do a reading on them, I would do exactly the same thing. Okay? All right, so primary area is the, all right, where's secondary area? Secondary, where is it?
Brain.
It's brain. It's brain. Here's the brain. Now, we can muscle test, and next week we'll spend some time muscle testing, but I'm going to push you this week. Okay? For those of you who can't do the 3 areas, just sense right now, is it dark or is it bright? That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. If you can go beyond that, I'm taking you there right now. Is it clear? Okay? Now, what's causing the darkness? Go back to the sheet in her heart. Is it lack of acceptance, lack of forgiveness?
Forgiveness. Which side, which?
Okay, you tell me. What's the issue? Lack of acceptance, lack of forgiveness. All I have to do is send my energy into hers. I look at this, I touch myself, because when I do that, I interrupt the energy, and it immediately tells me the answer. Now notice when I'm doing my work, I may do this. And every time I'm doing that, I'm getting answers. Because I'm really focusing for me. This helps me. Okay? So you might want to just imagine, as you're asking your question, you touch yourself and see if it stops and gives you an answer. So what is it? Lack of acceptance, lack of forgiveness.
It's a, which one is which? One is left and one is right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, my apologies.
Okay? It is for muscle testing. Right now, I'm just asking you to tell me. Some of you can do it, some of you can't. But for those of you who can, tell me what the answer is.
Forgiveness.
It's forgiveness. It's forgiveness.
Got a different answer when saying protect yourself.
You have to practice and practice and practice. Okay? You just have to practice. There's no way around it. Okay?
So one can just feel more right.
However you do it. It just depends. If you're asking me for rules, there aren't any. All right, it's the problem.
As soon as you said which one is it, I got forgiveness.
Right, right. It's obvious at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
It's not
Now,
obvious. It's not obvious to me.
It's not even obvious to me for myself.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
forgiveness of self or others, or
Doesn't
does
matter.
it matter?
Doesn't matter. You let the energy go through, and as the energy goes through, it will begin telling you what the issue is. You're letting that energy go through like a mop. That energy goes through and mops up all the elements of unforgiveness and removes them and takes them out of the body. She's replacing that with gratitude. Gratitude. Now we do that until she gets this area up to 100%. Okay, so let's check and see what percent she is towards 100% right now. She's at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 62, 4, 6. She said 66%. 66% out of 100 in her heart area. Now how did I know? I go to her spirit will stop me at the correct number. Always does. Always does. I can't push beyond a certain number. It will stop. Okay. So, let's do a little test. Let's do a little test. Cecile? Okay, put yourself in that bubble, in that circle, in that sphere. Put yourself in that, let the energy come running through. Let's do it for us also. I'm going to stop her at a certain point. I'm going to ask you to tell me the number. Okay, so get going with that. Let it go through. We let ours go through too. So let ours go through. Let the energy go through. Okay, keep going, Cecile. Let it go through. Keep going. Stop right there, Cecile. Okay, she's between 70 and 80%. What percent is she? Give me a number. Between 70 and 80, what's the number?
75, 78.
Good job, 78. Good job. Very good, keep going. Keep going, just keep going. You're doing well, just keep it going. Put the spheres back, let the energy keep running. Okay. Gotta keep going. Okay, she's between 80 and 90. Give me a number. What percent?
86.
What's the number?
84.
83.
What's the number?
83.
86. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going. You're doing well. How are you feeling now? Any better? Yeah. Yeah. It's much lighter in this area now. It's much easier. And the energy is much easier. Keep going. Just keep it going. Now at this point, as she's getting from the 80 range and she's going above that, she can put anyone she wants into her circle, her sphere, anyone she wants, and she can let them watch her. She can let them watch. She can't force them into change, she can let them watch as she's going towards 100%. It'll be amazing to see the difference in those people. Okay, so where is she now? We'll stop right here. Where is she now? Between 90 and 100, what's the number? 97, 98. Good job. Good job. Okay, so tell me when she reaches 100. Go ahead, Cecile. 100% in her chest, in her heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you feel how it stopped? Did you feel it? Yeah. Yeah, it's astounding what this does. Astounding. Okay. Just stop. Now, she worked on her heart. What percent is her brain? Because I'm a second year. Okay, it's between 90 and 100 in this case. What's the number? Right now. What?
92. 92.
96.
95, 96. Okay, so tell me when it reaches 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so close. So close. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's now. Yeah. Did you feel the difference? Just stop. Now this will take time. Did you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when she's, what?
It's total dependence on source, that's what it's,
Exactly.
period.
That's right. Now, she'll have a program, like the programs that we were talking about, like I give permission to Jesus, Holy Spirit, angels, God, I don't care who we pray to. We give them permission to help us, and we have reasons why we want them to help us. This is the time now to send that information out, just like she'd be doing it. She would send her program out into the world, out back through heaven and through our body, through the world, so everyone in the world gets her message. Everyone. That's when you send out the message. When this is at 100, this is at 100%, and this is at 100%, you send out that message. This is what you're doing 24/7. You're walking around, talking, doing your job, and even though you're working with people, you're still letting energy go through, you're still seeing yourself in that circle, you're still seeing how bright it is, and you're still doing your work all through the day. This is how we change the world. Make sense? See, thank you. Let's give her a hand here. Please. Okay. Okay. So, go look at your goals. Okay, the 6-month goals.
when we're clearing ourselves, we're in sphere, and then we have a picture of ourselves out there in the circle.